Hey there, y'all. This is Jack, and today we're discussing Kagurabachi, Chapter 29, Selection. Okay, this review is not going to be that long because it's mostly just a conversation between Chihiro and Kagari, and actually pretty interesting. And I love Kagari; she's just so freaking cool. Again, we missed out on her interaction in Sojo's. I would have loved to have seen that, but that's a whole other thing. All right, let's just dive right into the review. After I tell you, if you like content like this, please consider subscribing. I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's dive right into the review, shall we? All right, so yeah, we got to some. The auction's still ongoing, and some of the Kamrubai are just there, just there chatting. I just don't like their chatting a bit too loud, because they are kind of surrounded by criminals, So I'm not a fan of that. But the female one says, well, she's getting nervous, and the male's like, "Hey, why? It's our job. We didn't expect Enta to appear in the auction, but anyways, we're gonna bid for the other sword." And she's like, "Yeah, but." People are being sold here too. How can we just ignore that? Which is actually a fair point. I actually would get that, and honestly, I'd be having trouble doing that too. I mean, I think any of us would be like if we're at an auction, and our main goal is to like get a weapon, but there's actually people being trafficked here. Yeah, that'd be a hard choice, especially if you're like for betterment of your country, the people, and everything. Just seeing that happening, yeah, that's something good to raise. But this guy actually does bring up the male source or the male couple, male member here. He does bring up a good point as he says, in this cesspool of the world, we can't fix everything. We have to choose what we can protect. But I guess you don't know about Zunichi's power. Well, think of it this way: by buying the Zuichi at the auction, we could save millions of lives, which is another good point because, again, these swords are massively, massively dangerous and could be used to just kill scores of people. So, getting these swords off the black market and into custody of the authorities could save who knows how much lives, especially since this sword has been known as probably the most dangerous out of all of them. So it's good on them that they're actually going out and trying to get these swords. As bad as the trafficking is, but with the swords on some with some criminal having them going insanely just massacring people like Sojo, as made as crazy and as insane as he wasn't going out of his way to just kill innocent people just willy nilly. He just killed people that just gave him trouble or tried backstabbing him or other sorcerers that just could get the job done, and killed anyone that stood in his way. He was a maniac, but he wasn't like a maniac that just went out of his way, just start smirking so many innocent people. Like had like someone that just bothered him. No, you're dead. No, he had something going on in his mind. Right, he wasn't completely scrambled. But who knows if someone else, some other crazy person could get it. That could be much worse than Sojo. So very interesting that they do bring that stuff up. And then we get some of the guards watch some of the auction guards watching Chihiro and Kagari just about to talk with each other as Chihiro has a flashback with Shiba where he says he's I like that he did say that this was planned ahead, that Chihiro did actually want to go up and talk, or not talk, but get the people's attention. And it wasn't just the boy. Like the boy, he did kind of have something to do with it. He did kind of he brought Cheeto coming into the auction a little bit earlier, but that was always planned from the get go. So I was like, okay, 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 that's explained. I like that. It still doesn't explain why Shiba wasn't wearing a mask. Just saying. And so yeah, Kagari and Cheeto just continue to just go right at each other as they're just cutting down all these freaking guards in their way, and they stop, and then right there, Tafuku activates his domain expansion, wraps around them, as Cheeto says to Kagari, "We need to talk," and she's like, "That's my line, you bastard." And then we look over and we see Tafuku. And as we remember with Tafuku's domain expansion, once someone gets knocked out, the domain expansion ceases to exist. So, and we'll see that later again, which is again pretty cool to see that. I know it's not domain expansion, but it's pretty cool to refer to it as because it kind of a little bit is. And right there, we get Chihiro and Kagari speaking with each other. And so essentially, it comes down to Kagari essentially saying, to Cheeto, that yeah, no matter what's gonna happen, we gotta get that sword from you, and we gotta take you in essentially, because because if any of those guys kill you and they get the sword, and they're gonna be able to run rampant with it. So we got to take you in. But Cheeto, smart son of a gun, I love it. He actually appeals to her humanity. He's like, he knows that she actually does care for people, and she does actually genuinely want to help people, especially from with their last conversation when she brought up with the abilities of the blade, and how they're so dangerous, they have to be taken away so that way they can protect the people. And Cheeto, he's actually going to be bringing this up with her, and we get Tafuku just watching this conversation, remembering when him and Kagari were in the Kagura I almost said Kagurabachi office. I'm so sorry. It's already 2 a.m. here. I'm sorry. The Kanubai office, where she's kind of just throwing a fit on how they can't just let people get sold in this auction. They gotta protect everyone, because every life is precious. They have to do this, and Tafuku says she was like that all the way up to the till we got here. So essentially, she just kind of not. I guess when I say mellowed out, it's more like she just kind of just calmed, so she could just get the mission done, and then she could take care of business essentially. And Cheeto does bring up her humanity, which she was in touch with. And he's just trying to be like bring it up like, hey, you know there was a kid here who said his sister was caught in the auction, and she's gonna be sold, and that's very bad. So that I'm gonna try to get my sword, kill people, and get out of here essentially. And I know you're a good person. You're gonna want to help the people here. So what do you say? And she kind of rolls her eyes so hard, her wound on her forehead just starts reopens, or she starts bleeding, and she says, "God, all of you," and she's like, "All of it, all of it, Tafuku, all of it," and Tafuku's like, "All of it," and she's like, "All of it," and she's like, "Yep, I'm destroying all of this," and so yeah, she's just had enough of it. She's like, "Yeah, all of it's being destroyed. That's it. I'm taking it all down," and so yeah, they got a truce. They got a pretty interesting truce here, as Cheeto looks over at Tafuku and says, so what's gonna happen now? Tafuku's like, well, after you get your sword, we're gonna have to kill you, so that way the higher ups don't get on our back. So when you get your sword, we're gonna have to kill you. And Cheeto's like, oh, all right, let's chill. And right there, Tafuku just gets the thug he's holding. He's like, all right, guys, get ready. As he goes to swing on that guard, Cheeto and Kagari just rush right past each other, as Utafuka just knocks out the guard, and boom, they appear. The domain breaks, and Kagari just starts rampaging through the guards as Cheeto just runs off. And right there, he gets his last. She gets the last panel. She says, "You won't touch him." Cool, I like it. I was I wasn't sure how the author of the manga was gonna get these two to work together, but I think he did it pretty dang well, especially appealing to her side of her wanting her actual justice of wanting to help people, her humanity, to wanting to save the people, because he knew that she wanted that, because when their first interaction, she was very concerned with the cursed blades on how they could be used for bad. So Cheeto, knowing that and applying that to this situation, is very very good with them. Also, I did bring up in the last review that Cheeto, if Cheeto possibly could have teleported to where the bottom of the auction is, to where the gates were, but Cheeto, his words to that was, well, we're gonna have to fight through the guards anyway, so it's best we take them out now and then get over with, so we get to the actual area where the hidden door is, to the different realms. So I'm still curious about that. Like, we'll see later on as we can look back on it and see if that was the correct choice. But I get where Cheeto's coming from, right? So I'm not gonna take anything from that. Overall, this chapter was actually pretty dang good. I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. I really like it. And the assassins that we see, well, not the assassins, I guess like the more like actual echelon top tier bodyguards. I hope they put up actually a good fight. I hope we actually do put up a decent fight, more than when we saw the ones that are helping a Sojo. I would really like that, because all the guards you've seen just get immediately slaughtered by Cheeto. Weakened Cheeto. And Zuzamushi guards. It'd be cool to see how they go up. Now they had more preparation against Cheeto, and Cheeto has a broken enchanted blade, so it's not gonna go that easy for him like last time, right? And also how Kagari is gonna go up against him. They didn't say her power is on par with the enchanted blade. I ain't sure about that one, Chief. I think you're kind of I think Tafuku is just building her up a bit, but I wouldn't say she's her power on part of enchanted blade. Maybe in the long run, maybe if the fight continued, she probably would have stood a better chance against Cheeto. But we'll see in the future, right? So yeah, that concludes my review. Again, mostly just dialogue, but very good dialogue, and I really, really like this. So yeah, that concludes my review. If you guys listen this far, I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Later.